Bitcoin is nowhere near the peak that most people are expecting it to hit in the coming months. There's consensus among most people in crypto that on the low end, Bitcoin will hit $150,000 and on the high end could reach anywhere from $240,000 to $250,000.
Finally, XRP is actually breaking out.
XRP is garbage. The comments are going to go mental. I'm going to be attacked. But I'm not saying XRP is garbage, okay? Just get that right.
Is Bitcoin a good investment?
No, it's a speculation.
JL, I love you, man, but you're going to get lit up on the internet. You need to not say this.
I'm going to see. I can't wait to see what he says. Is it a speculation? Well, I'm Matthew Fraser, and this is Crypto Collective. After making millions with Amazon and e-commerce, I realized that if I was starting again today, crypto would be my first choice. I'm here to help you take your first steps and build real wealth. Ready to set yourself up for life? Let's go.
Look, this government, it's addicted to spending, it's addicted to tax, and like any addiction, it comes with consequences for real, everyday Australians. What's Labor's solution? Tax more, spend more, just rinse and repeat. Since 2023, 8 out of the last 9 quarters has seen GDP per capita go backwards. That means the average Australian family has gotten poorer. It means your standard of living is going down. That is what has been delivered under this Albanese government. Actually, it's even worse than that. 1 in 3 of every dollar produced in this economy finds its way into government's hands. 1 in 3 of every single dollar, thanks to Dr. Chalmers. The first big fight of this parliament, it's not a tax on wealth. It's a tax on imaginary wealth. A tax on gains that don't even exist except in the Treasurer's head. This tax is designed to grow. It's a Trojan horse.
And what that MP is talking about there is Labor's unrealised capital gains tax on superannuation. This is actually one of the things that was the catalyst for me even thinking about moving out of Australia. The country that I love, the country that I thought I would never ever move away from, the one that I thought I would live old and die in. But it's because of this outright theft of people's retirement savings, the theft of our energy and our time. That's what's forced me to now consider moving elsewhere. And when I say consider, I'm actually taking action on it. I've started selling all of my cars. They're all gone. I'm selling my properties. I'm dematerializing everything. I'm turning it all into digital, into a position where I can get up and take me and my family out of this country, right? Because I will not stand by and have my wealth stolen from me by an incompetent government. What's the country I'm thinking of? UAE, baby. Dubai.
Bitcoin is nowhere near the peak that most people are expecting it to hit in the coming months. Let's unpack what the crypto industry is expecting it to hit and, more importantly, when that might be. It's September 2025 and things have been slow, boring, uninspiring, and Bitcoin is currently sitting at $110,000. There's consensus among most people in crypto that on the low end, Bitcoin will hit $150,000 and on the high end could reach anywhere from $240,000 to $250,000. When might that happen? A lot of folks were expecting that to happen by the end of this year, but sentiment is starting to shift and some people are expecting that to happen early next year instead. While we don't know exactly when that'll happen, it's important that you remember to take profits along the way.
Well, I think the most important thing that you need to think about is actually being exposed to the market, right? You cannot wait to jump in, right? It's just get in the market and just sit back and do nothing, basically. One of the things that's so interesting about Bitcoin is actually the doing nothing part. He said September right now is actually kind of boring, and it is. It's sort of been chopping along for a little while now. But that is the thing. You do nothing. You allocate to Bitcoin, you sit back and you let Bitcoin do what it does. Now, you'll hear the saying quite often, which is it's time in the market, not time in the market. That's why your allocation has to be in now, because when the peaks and the rises come, and they only come every for 4 days or something of the year. It's very, very small window that you've got to be in. So you can't sit back and wait for it to go up. Okay, that is the wrong strategy, right? Is get in, sit back and wait.
Is Bitcoin a good investment?
No, it's a speculation.
JL, I love you, man, but you're going to get lit up on the internet. You need to not say this.
Well, I'm sorry, but you asked me the question. I can only give you the answer I have. So let me explain to you what I mean.
I'm going to see. I can't wait to see what he says. Is it a speculation? Well, I guess we are speculating somewhat, but we're also looking back in history. We also know the adoption rate. We know what's happening to money. It's being completely, or fiat currency being debased, right? The problem is actually the monetary system. The solution is Bitcoin. So anyway, let's see what else he has to say.
If you bought Bitcoin 10, 15 years ago, you've just done magnificently well. I mean, who wouldn't want that? I wish I'd done that. I didn't and still haven't, right? But that's not the question. The question is, where does it go from here? It's at 100,000 or somewhere around
Right now
there.
we're talking at 100,000. And when I was talking to Du Bois in the group chat, it was at 13,000.
Yeah.
And look at me.
Yeah, but that was then. This is now. So where does it go from now?
Well,
Where does it
now
go
I'm
from
getting
here?
made fun of, JL, and that's what you're not understanding. And I live with regret, and they're roasting me. And they have laser eyes and like, you dumbass.
Yeah.
You're out here podcasting and doing ad reads when you could have gone all in on Bitcoin and 10x'd it.
Well, that's interesting because essentially I am labeled what's called a Bitcoin maxi. You know, it's not just because of the cap. It's not just because of the number plates on the car. It's because all of my superannuation is allocated into Bitcoin in an SMSF. I'm now dematerializing more things that I hold, like properties and cars, going to Bitcoin. I've already got a company treasury stack, and I've also got Bitcoin in my personal name, right? It's like Bitcoin freaking everywhere. So you would argue I'm pretty invested into Bitcoin. Why? Because I've seen, right? And once you see, you can't unsee, which is the current system is broken. And the reason why you have to allocate to Bitcoin is because it's the hardest money that you can allocate to. Not to mention the best performing asset. And will likely be into the future.
Well, if you're worried about the new $3 million superannuation cap, there is a workaround
My
that
old
will not
mate
only benefit
Chris.
your family, but also help your children grow wealth. How? Let me tell you. The $3 million super tax means that any capital growth over the $3 million will be taxed whether it's realised or not. And that's worrying people because they're quite okay about paying tax on sale of an asset.
Well, let me just pause it there, Chris. I don't know if I've heard you say this before, but you said, well, people are okay with paying tax on an asset. Not really, Chris. We're actually not really happy about it. We're forced to pay it under this ATO government system that we currently live in, but I wouldn't say we're sort of happy about it. But anyway, keep going.
But it's pretty unfair to be paying tax on something you haven't even realised. And that's going to cause cash flow problems within the super fund and, more importantly, in individual families. One of the ways to get around that is that if you're at an age where you can take your money out as older people, you'd be then saying, where am I going to invest that money? But one of the overlooked strategies is that if you then reinvest that money back into your superannuation fund in the names of your kids, and you would then pick up the tax-deductible component of that, so they get a big refund. And number two, you put more money back in because the $3 million cap only applies per member, not per fund. So you can actually reintroduce the wealth back into the family super fund, and then when you go, the kids can then take over the fund with the accumulated wealth.
Well, that's interesting. I've actually never heard that strategy before, which was accumulating back into the children's superannuation fund. But isn't it shocking that these are the kind of tactics that you even have to come up with because of Labor's unrealized capital gains tax proposal, which is an absolute theft of people's retirement savings. We've now got to come up with all these convoluted strategies because we don't want the government stealing our money. It's absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, I guess good on Chris for thinking outside the box.
Finally, XRP is actually breaking out.
The team here does this deliberately to me. They throw me an XRP story and to do a reaction to because you know that the XRP army, no matter what I say, like if I say XRP is garbage, the comments are going to go mental. I'm going to be attacked. But I'm not saying XRP is garbage, okay? Just get that right. I'm just, okay, let's see what he says.
So we can see here from my wedge pattern I've been watching for at least a few months now, we've actually finally broken out of it. You can see this little green arrow here means that I added to my position right here, now in 4,000 XRP as profit. By the way, guys, there's a completely free Telegram group in my bio and in the pinned comment if you want to come and join.
I'm not going to get suckered into this one anymore. Look, let me just say this. If you want to allocate your hard-earned money to XRP in the hopes and dreams that it's going to go to $10,000 a coin, you have at it, right? I'm playing the safer game. I'm allocating my funds to Bitcoin, the strongest, hardest, decentralized, capped asset that there is. And of course, over the history of time, we know it's been the best performing asset and will likely be into the future. Something you can just hold on to and forget about. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me on that episode of Reactions. If you want me to react to anything else, put a link into the description of any of the videos that come up. You think, yeah, I want Matt to react to that one, all right? Put it in the comments right below. All right, thanks so much, guys. All the best, take care. Hey guys, just quickly, this episode is brought to you by CoinStash, the Australian exchange I personally use to invest my SMSF into Bitcoin and crypto. Now, CoinStash is Australia's leading SMSF crypto exchange built for investors just like you. What really sets them apart is their service and expertise. If you're looking to invest in crypto through your SMSF, they make it simple. Just book a free call with their local team and they'll walk you through the entire process. From setting up your crypto SMSF account to helping you stay compliant with Australian regulations, their experts guide you every step of the way. You'll get fast onboarding, dedicated support wherever you need it. You might be investing in digital assets, but with CoinStash, you're dealing with real people and that makes all the difference. So if you're ready to take control of your crypto super and make your SMSF crypto journey smooth sailing, hit the link in the show notes and book a free call with the CoinStash team today. Now, back to the episode.
Let's talk about the collapse of two super funds amounting to $1.2 billion that over 12,000 hardworking Aussie taxpayers have lost. Their retirement savings gone. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This is another example of corporate greed, government mismanagement, and showing how toothless ASIC really is. This is our corporate watchdog, and all of this happened under their watch.
I've actually seen this one before, and it's absolutely disgusting when I see this type of corporate malpractice. And it wasn't even just, it was deliberate, okay? And what was happening behind the scenes was you had financial advisors who were telling everyday Australians that they should allocate to these two companies. And they ultimately went under through mismanagement of clients' money. And what you've got to think about now is the risk factor. Yeah, the risk of you now holding your funds in these superannuation style companies. Because right now, I've moved all of my superannuation into Bitcoin, right? And people say to me, oh, it's a bit risky. I'm like, really? Look what's just happened to 12,000 Australians. And guess what? Their balance is at zero, right? And it's a disgrace because they thought by allocating to this fund that their retirement was secure. There's even people who are literally on the verge of retirement who have lost in the vicinity of $1 million who now have to go or stay in work for God knows how long. It's a really, really sad situation. So one of the things I'm going to say is that you should consider doing, which is allocating some, if not all, of your superannuation to Bitcoin. Something to think about.
Hi, it's Grant Abbott, the SMSF Guru here. Today we're going to talk about crypto. Now, I know a lot of you guys just absolutely love crypto, and it's perfect. It actually fits a self-managed super fund or superannuation fund vehicle really well because it's a growth investment. You see, when you put it inside your superannuation fund, essentially any income is going to be taxed at 15%, but you're not after income, you're after that capital gain. Now, one of the areas there is that you want to hold it. Once you turn to age 60 or 65 in your retirement, you can start to take a pension out of the fund. Under the current rules, you can accrue all this wealth sitting inside your self-managed superannuation fund, and when you take it out at age 60, it's going to be tax-free. Now, of course, we've got to watch out for the $3 million unrealized gains, but look, there's many strategies we can use with a self-managed super fund and a crypto protection trust together. So for those of you smart-minded who really want to go down the track and make sure you're doing the right thing.
Well, there you go. Thank you, Grant Abbott, for putting that video together. I love the way he just dropped in. Well, you kind of got to look out for that unrealized capital gains tax that's coming about. Of course you could look out for it because it's stealing people's retirement savings, Grant. That's what it's doing. Absolute theft. I'm so freaking opposed to it and I hate everything it stands for. What's interesting though is that people are saying, well, I'm not going to accumulate more than $3 million. Now, in a standard super fund where you got allocated into boring assets, right, where you're getting like 9% a year, and for your average job, yeah, you're probably not going to get just $3 million. But I represent the Bitcoin community. And guess what? We're banking on that doing at least a 30 to 50% compounding rate for the next 10 to 20 years. So even a modest investment into Bitcoin today could yield huge growth into the future and far exceed the $3 million. And because we've taken that knowledge and the risk and all the rest of it to allocate into Bitcoin, why should we be penalized because the government can't control money and therefore is trying to steal our Bitcoin?
On January 1st, 2026, a new crypto rule goes live in the UK. And if you've got crypto, you need to hear this. Every crypto exchange, wallet and platform will be forced to collect and report your full details, your name, address, your tax ID, and even transactions that you thought were private.
Now, before he even goes on, I know what this is about, right? I know this is about more government control. And what are they going to say? We've got to, we've got to pretend there's fraud and anti-money laundering, right? It's absolute garbage, and it's just about more, the takeover of your privacy. That's basically what it is, right? So you cannot take a step out of anywhere without them, having the heavy hand of government look over you. The same thing that the UK is doing is what's going to end up happening in Australia. We've already seen, like just even recently, with this over 16s ID that you now have to do to even access bloody Google. It's absolutely insane, right? And this is exactly the same type of thing.
They'll say it's about fairness, about safety, about protecting you from fraud. But think about it, the whole point of crypto was decentralization, freedom from the system. And now the biggest players, BlackRock and Fidelity, have created Bitcoin ETFs. And the government's stepping in to monitor every move. So ask yourself, has crypto become just another version of the system it was meant to escape? Or was Bitcoin always meant to end up here? Maybe even tested on the public as a sandbox? Who knows? But here's the trick. They always sell regulation through fear. Fear of fraud, fear of scams, fear of bad actors.
Well, let me just stop there. That's exactly what the banks do. Right now, it's so difficult to get your money from the bank to a crypto exchange. And what do they say? Well, we're protecting you against fraud and scams and all stuff, right? Fear, fear, fear. And even if you can get it through, like what will happen is with some banks, they'll block your bank account or block the transaction for like 24 hours, right? You have to get on the phone. You'll spend an hour on the phone explaining to these people that, hey, look, I know what I'm doing. I'm transferring from here to here. You're even transferring the funds, though, to an Australian government regulated entity, right? This is not some foreign country, and somehow that's still a scam. So I know exactly what he's saying. Even when you think about going into the bank to take out your own cash, now that's even a problem.
And when you're afraid, you accept oversight without question. Fear keeps you obedient. Even with the pump and dumps and the scam coins, they've let it all happen. Why? Because it's the perfect excuse. People lose money, get scammed, and then the system steps in with a ready-made solution. But look closely. Every new solution just adds more control. Fraud, more reporting. Tax gap, more reporting. Financial crime, more reporting. Until every transaction is tracked, every habit mapped, and every choice influenced. The real reason for this change isn't protection, it's control. Here's what I'd do. Never panic sell. Don't let fear push you into the herd. Hold your own keys, use cold storage, and don't rely on custodians who treat you like a product. And remember, not your keys, not your crypto.
Well, that's exactly right. That's one of the things that I advocate for. And if you go into the description, you'll find a company that I personally use to protect all of my cybersecurity to do with Bitcoin, which is called The Bitcoin Way. You'll find the link in the description. I highly recommend that you go and book a call with them today and take control and self-custody of your own Bitcoin. Thanks for tuning in to Crypto Collective. If you've enjoyed this episode, the best way to show your support is to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcast or Spotify, and make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode. You can also find more of me at I'm Matthew Fraser on all social media platforms.